Hi, my name's Connor. This is my 1000 horsepower R33 GTST. I bought the car in 2014. I actually bought it to learn how to drive on my learners. So it started off, it's actually a non-turbo model. A lot of people sort of said just to sell it and buy a turbo model because it'll be a lot easier to modify it from there, but it's pretty clean, and they're getting harder to find without rust, and I was attached to it at that point, so I just decided to do the conversion myself. I was on my P plates, couldn't really do much engine wise because of the restrictions we got here in Queensland. So I did a Series 2 front end conversion, and the wing at the back there, and just set of coilovers in it, did a 5-stud hub conversion, put some GDR brakes on, just had a few different sets of wheels on it, just little things like that to make it look the way I wanted to while I couldn't really go fast. Bought a 25 off of a bloke on Facebook Marketplace. Went to the effort of swapping all that in, just kept the Rb20 gearbox behind it because that would have been plenty for the power anyway. Turned out that motor was junk, it had a spun bearing in the bottom end, so I was sort of lost for what to do at that point. I ended up buying just the Rb30 block, just a standard A6 Rb30, and I took the hydraulic head off that 25 that I bought because it was still good, we could use that. I got the boys at Miller Engines and Mechanical to refurb the bottom end for me, set of head studs, head gasket, put the 25 head on it, made just under 300 horsepower I think with the stock 25 turbo on it. So it was heaps of fun just hooning around on my P plates in that thing. From there I sort of got bored of that power and I was hanging around with a few boys from Ipswich and Brizzy that had some really quick cars, like sort of roll race cars, drag cars, that just quick street cars, and got the bug to go faster and faster. That led me to, I bought a forged Rb30 bottom end off of a workshop in Brisbane that didn't end up finishing the build that they were going to put that motor into. Pieced together a Rb26 cylinder head for it. I bought a turbo kit off of, once again, Marketplace. It was just a old school GT 4202 journal bearing, had a Pro Mod manifold made up for it. It was pretty sweet looking little setup, it ticked all the boxes for me. I didn't have a whole lot of money to buy the best of the best at that point in time, so we threw that on it, and that Greddy intake manifold, ITBs, just because I think the ITBs give it a bit better throttle response and it's nicer to drive with them on there. So we got it all wired up, got it on the dyno. It was still manual at this stage, just a standard 5-speed Rb25 box. Made around 750 horsepower. It was tight, it was the fastest thing I'd ever driven before. It scared the shit out of me. I think I was 19 when I finished it at that stage. I just kept turning it up, got bored of the power, and ended up, we made 994 horsepower on about 37 pounds of boost. And after a little while, sump surging and whatnot, it just started to wear out the bearings in the bottom end. And then after Power Cruise 2019, I drove down there, thrashed it a weekend, drove home, drove it to the gym a couple of times that week, and then went to a mate's birthday party down in Gatton. I'm not gonna not do a burnout. Yeah, she did a big end bearing, but that's what happens when you drive your car actively, all the time. I got my fab guy to make a really nice big sump for it that's got some nice baffling system in it, and it's got a Nitto oil pump on it now. The boys at Miller Engines rebuilt the motor. All the pistons, rods were all fine. We just tidied up the crank and the rods and everything, and some new rings, bearings. It's got a 6-boost T4 split pulse manifold on it, single gate, just a 50mm Pro gate from Turbo Smart. The turbo is a Borg Warner SXE 372, so 72mm. It's real good. For the money, I think you're crazy not to. If you're sort of semi-budget like myself, it's a really good bit of gears. So then the next stop for the car was back to Miller's for we bolted it up to the mainline hub dyno. We ended up making 1016 horsepower. I was absolutely pumped. It's been a goal of mine since I was this big to have 1000 horsepower Skyline. So it'd be gangster to have a 9-second street car. An opportunity came up to put a power glide in the car. and that's something I've always wanted to do. So that opportunity came up, we jumped on that, got the power guide in the car, and it has absolutely transformed the car. It's honestly say it, I shit myself every time I drive this car now. It is absolutely terrifying. It's been a pretty long journey with this car. Like I've had it, what, six years now? But I'm excited to see where it takes me from here. Get off my highway. Cut.